What's going on, everybody? Welcome in. Sorry, we had some technical difficulties, but I think we got everything ironed out. So we are getting ready to go. We'll give it just a few minutes before we get started here. So again, I want to apologize if you just joined. You're like, hey, where the hell did you go? We had some technical difficulties, but I think we should be ready to go here in just a few seconds. We'll let everybody get in real quick, and then we'll start talking some NASCAR. Let me see something real quick. Hopefully this goes a lot more smoothly than the last attempt. But copy that. Looks like we're live on Facebook. So welcome in, Facebook folks. Put that here. There we go. All right. Yeah, should be good to go. So, all right. Well, if you're just now tuning in, again, welcome. We had a little bit of technical difficulties, and I think we are ready to go. On the deck, we have the review for NASCAR Full Speed, the Netflix series, and then we're also going to break down the Busch Clash that will be happening as long as there's not catastrophic flooding tomorrow in the state of California. So, my name is Ryan Peters. This is Stuck in the Catch Fence. We are live. Let's get into it. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back. The first live race / weekly show of the brand new season. Hopefully, you're as excited about it as much as I am. I cannot wait. Got a few new things up on the wall there. Got some nice little lighting there, and try and do what we can. First off, I have to say this: Kyle Busch, rookie series. Kyle Busch, my favorite car of all time. Kyle Busch in the truck. And then these two, Corey Heim and Ty Gibbs, I were at those Atlanta races. So got some new background. So hopefully it's more visual appeasing. You let me know. But let's go ahead and dive into topic number one. Could we have talked about the news? We could have. Could we have sat here and bored you to death on a few things? Some interesting things, but not really a whole lot. When it comes to the Daytona week, that's when we're going to flood you with everything that's really, really important. I think the biggest news is that Shane Van Gisbergen is going to run a few races for Colleague this year. So Shane Van Gisbergen is going to be a little bit everywhere this year. So that to me is like the most major news. But the biggest news in terms of what NASCAR could do to better itself is going to Netflix, using Dale Earnhardt Jr. and his love for the sport and trying to attract a new audience, hence NASCAR Full Speed. So NASCAR Full Speed came out earlier this week. Let me know, like it says, did you watch the show? What are your thoughts? If you plan on watching it and you haven't watched it yet, let me know that as well. But I was off Tuesday and the show dropped. I wasn't off because the show dropped. I was off because I had to do some childcare. But nonetheless, a perfect time to watch and binge watch every single episode of NASCAR Full Speed. And I'm going to give you, with the positives, the negatives, and then what I think if NASCAR truly achieved their goal, and that was bringing in an audience that that has never watched NASCAR and possibly will now invest. So if you're asking, what is NASCAR Full Speed? NASCAR Full Speed is a Netflix series. A lot of people are trying to parallel it with the Drive to Survive from Formula One, and I understand that a little bit. To me, the Drive to Survive for Formula One is more into the lives of the rock stars that are over in Europe and the Middle East, that make up that group of drivers. It's more of a ritzy club that they just also drive cars. And you see more of that because a lot of time the action in Formula One does not compare to a lot of other motorsports, especially with Max Verstappen dominating. I think in 2020, it became really, really popular because, well, number one, there was nothing to do. And number two, it gained an audience because of the best season that it's had since I've been watching. And that was the battle between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. So now Netflix says, hey, NASCAR, do you want to do something similar? And NASCAR says, yes, let's get Dale Earnhardt Jr. Perfect. It makes perfect sense to get Dale Earnhardt Jr. to be one of the executive producers of this. And let's get new eyeballs on our favorite sport, that is NASCAR. So the first thing that I will say, it goes into the 11 races remaining in last year's race. The last race of the season, regular season at Daytona, and then into the chase. And you can tell that the script wasn't to follow certain drivers outside of Denny Hamlin in 2311 at first. They kind of sprinkled in some guys that didn't go like real deep into most of them. I mean, like Christopher Bell, like, oh, I guess he's in the final four. Let's throw him in real quick. Oh, Ryan Blaney's getting hot here at the end. Let's throw him in real quick. And you can kind of see that that's forced. I also we'll get into it in the positives and negatives. So first, I'll go with the positives. The positives, and this is the biggest positive, and this is something I've been saying for a very long time, is that NASCAR needs superstars. I've been saying the same thing about baseball. Baseball has done a poor job marketing its stars. I feel the same way about NASCAR. It is a poor job marketing its stars. So this was an opportunity for NASCAR to market its stars, and none shine brighter than a person that a lot of people do not like, and a lot of people have a lot of animosity towards, and people that just simply don't ever want to hear him talk or speak because they believe he's a hypocrite, and that is Denny Hamlin. I will say this. Denny Hamlin makes this show. Whether you like him or not, he is the entertainment, the star power that NASCAR needs to have a camera in front of if they want to succeed. They tried it with Bubba, and we'll get to that, because God knows, the media has tried to turn Bubba into a superstar. People have rejected it. People have pushed against it. Denny Hamlin, NASCAR has not tried to make into a superstar. He is a NASCAR Hall of Famer. He's missing one trophy in this trophy case, and that is a championship. He's won everything else, won 50 races, and you put a camera in front of him, you go see through the life and lens of what it's like to be a driver, a car owner, and somebody that has been in this sport and is now 42 years old and not yet won NASCAR's biggest prize, that being a championship. To me, that is the most compelling storyline that you can have. I thought it did a great job doing something that a lot of sports don't do. Go into the background history of what it took for Denny Hamlin to get to this point, and that being his parents. I think one of the most sincere things and the most heart captivating things was listening to Denny Hamlin's dad talk about one day hopefully opening a box that has a stored cigar and smoking that with Michael Jordan when Denny Hamlin wins a championship, whether it be an owner or whether it be a driver. On top of that, his mom telling the camera crew, we had to refinance our house, get a second mortgage to fund Denny Hamlin's racing. Denny Hamlin's dad goes through this wall of amazing cars and said, I had to sell all these so that my son could pursue his dream. That's not something that is common with playing basketball or baseball or football. Yeah, there's sacrifices, but the financials that are behind auto racing are unlike anything else. And NASCAR will show you that, because right now they're having a hard time coming to agreement the way the sport should be funded. Teams are losing money. So not only are they losing money at a grassroots level, just trying to get somebody to drive a vehicle like Denny Hamlin, but also all the way to the top. You know, there's going to be people in this sport that make it because their last name. Make no mistake about it. Whether Ryan Blaney was talented or not, he would be in because his last name. Whether Ty Gibbs was talented or not, he would be in because of his last name. Whether Chase Elliott was talented or not, he would be in because of his last name. Whether John Hunter Nemechek was talented or not, he would be in because of his last name. Now, don't put words in my mouth. Don't listen to what I'm not saying. Those drivers, for most, if not all of them, have earned their way to the top echelon in the sport by the things that they've done. You could argue the Dylans. You could argue Kyle Petty to a certain extent. There's a few other drivers that you could actually clearly go, I don't know if they really deserve to be in the sport. And maybe Kyle Petty is way more fringe on that. But most certainly those other drivers, I mean, two of them are champions. One of them, I believe, is going to be a champion, and Ty Gibbs. But it shows that those drivers and what other drivers like Kyle Busch have said, yeah, you can become a NASCAR driver. You just need $1 million behind you to sponsor you. And there's people in this sport that have that. They don't have to earn it. They just have to have the money. AJ Allmendinger would still be in the top series today if he had the financial backing that he did. Eric Almirola stayed in this because of Smithfield. That's just a small glimpse at the minute level, the grassroots level. And I thought they did a really good job with that and showcasing what Denny's families had to do to sacrifice to get him to that point. Now, not only is Denny Hamlin a superstar, by doing this, he gave a broad scope of what it's like to be an owner / driver. Now, unlike most other sports, you cannot own and drive or manage and play, things of that nature. It's a very unique landscape where Denny Hamlin owns a team and then he himself participates with a different team and competes. So it shows that work balance life when it comes to that. And I thought it did a wonderful job going into the meetings. I thought just bringing people into the meetings kind of gives you that case. I thought it was great to see Kurt Busch showing him where he said he's been at 2311 being an ambassador. I thought that was a great opportunity to showcase that. You know, Michael Jordan was in it for a little bit. It was showing the brand new facility and all the things that go into it on a daily basis, what they talk about, who did good, who drove like shit. All those different things were great. Booty Barker, another personality that we never really heard of. You know, there's no background on Booty Barker. Most people, if would ask you who Booty Barker is, they would probably know his spotter on Door Bumper Clear before they actually knew Bubba Wallace's crew chief, which is Booty Barker. And most people would say, what do you know about Booty Barker? And he's in a wheelchair. And that's it. So those type of things I thought were really, really good. And, you know, I like that they go into their personal life and showcase their kids and things of that nature and show the personalities that they are. So I thought those things were really, really good. Now I'm going to go into the things that I thought they could either work on or they just missed the mark. But first off, cheers, wet my whistle. Again, let me know what you guys thought. Mike Goodpastor says, great show. Thank you, Mike. Been enjoying listening to you guys as well over there at The Grueling Truth. Make sure you listen to them, especially if you like IU. And they're talking also the NFL, break down the Super Bowl. But thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. So here's where NASCAR and where the Netflix series, I think, missed the mark or things they should do. Number one, and I cannot emphasize this enough, Netflix literally made a show which has had memes, which has had GIFs, which has had viewership, which has had record number of just normal people watch The Last Dance. And why did they watch The Last Dance? Because Michael Jordan is one of the most polarizing people, even today, in the entire world. Bar none. Bar none. It is Michael Jordan, sports-wise, and then you can creep down to probably a lot of other people. Then you're looking at Tiger, Tom Brady, in no specific order, Leo Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, blah, blah, blah. MJ is in a league of his own. When you have MJ, sit the man down and let him tell people why he got into this sport. If MJ can put his time and effort, he put more effort into 2311 in the last 2 years, and I don't care what you say, than he did the Charlotte Hornets. I believe that 100%. MJ is at every race more often than not. He's walking up and down. He's up in the pit box. You have the biggest star, and you didn't let him explain why he got into the sport. He goes, yeah, my dad and I used to watch it on Sundays, and that's it. No, sit him down. MJ, what is it that you got your how did you and Denny Hamlin meet? How did Denny Hamlin become the only Jordan athlete sponsored by you in NASCAR auto racing? What made you want to own a group? What is it today that brings you to the racetrack? Not that you just own it and watch it from the sidelines, but you're there, you're living it, you're breathing it. Everybody that is a casual fan knows who Michael Jordan is and would love to hear that. Would love to hear that. If Michael Jordan watches this, why should I watch it? Bring him in, Mike. Let him know. Let them know. There's more trash talking and the things that you grew up in your generation in NASCAR than there is in basketball today. Let them know. Bring in that cultural difference within that. I thought that was a huge opportunity missed. Another opportunity that I thought didn't hit the mark. 2311 was part of it. I get it. Bubba Wallace, you can tell, was a concerted effort to make him be a star, and it didn't work. It didn't work. You can say, Ryan, you don't like the guy. You don't care for him. You're just here to bash him. Bullshit. Look at the stuff that I've posted before. When it comes to Bubba Wallace, why my personal feelings are one way, the way I professionally feel about him is a totally different way. Okay. Bubba has made tremendous strides last year. If you were ever going to showcase Bubba Wallace, it should have been last year when he had his best year of all time. But the more and more you watch of Bubba Wallace, the more and more you go, that guy is just not that likable. He's boring. He seems arrogant. He's done nothing to deserve the all the glory that he has. We couldn't get one word from Chase Elliott. We couldn't get one word from Kyle Busch. We couldn't get hardly one word from Martin Truex Jr. We couldn't get one word from insert Kevin Harvick. But we got entire segments and almost an entire episode of Bubba Wallace. And Kevin Harvick's last year, Bubba Wallace? It was his time to show the world. If Denny Hamlin can make those who do not like him, and I've met Denny Hamlin, and it was not a great experience, do not like him and go, NASCAR needs him. If Denny Hamlin can do that, Bubba Wallace can do that to a certain extent, and it didn't happen. It just simply didn't happen. So that's my thing on Bubba Wallace. I thought that completely missed the mark. The beginning, the Daytona get-in race. Oh, I have to emphasize this. Chris Buescher has one of the worst wrecks. Or excuse me, apologize. Ryan Preece has one of the worst wrecks we've ever seen. One of the worst wrecks we've ever seen. And we see the wreck, but we do not emphasize the wreck. Marty Smith did a good job with his one-liners and his nice country accent. Yeah, if you don't know what you're doing out there, then you're a dumb son of a bitch, and you're going to get your ass. I mean, just all the, cliche things that he was saying and things like that. You can tell Marty Smith likes a camera in front of him. He does a good job. But you had one of the most, at least the worst wreck since the next gen era. And I thought NASCAR and Netflix could have used a huge opportunity to emphasize the danger that it is to drive a NASCAR stock car. Ryan Preece literally had black and red bloodshot eyes. Maybe I can pull that up for you while I speak and show that to you. Oh, give me 1 second. This is a live show, so this is what you get when we're doing a live show. But they could have. Here we go. I'm gonna save this here, and I want to emphasize this to people because NASCAR and Netflix missed the mark to show you how scary and how dangerous this sport is. Give me 1 second. I'm almost there, boys and girls. Up and okay. So when Ryan Preece wrecked, he did not race the next two races, at least, because this was the damage caused to his face. It blacked both of his eyes. They're bloodshot and black. And all we did was show the wreck. Maybe NASCAR didn't want to show that because it is dangerous and they're not trying to emphasize that. But These guys are built different. When they do their professional job, unlike a basketball player, a baseball player, and most football players not named Damar Hamlin, their lives are not in danger to an extent that it could end it. That is the risk that they take for the most popular form of that style of racing, which is completely fabricated by NASCAR to be entertaining, which is super speedway racing. Look at this. That's the results of somebody flipping 8 times at 200 miles an hour almost. NASCAR should have used that, and Netflix should have used that and say, guys, if you don't think that this is a sport, what happened to Ryan Preece? Look at that tough son of a bitch, as one person put it. He's a crazy son of a bitch, is what he said. Excuse my French. You have to be. You have to be to drive and participate in the sport. You got to be a little bit crazy. You got to have balls like nobody else. Like Denny Hamlin said, Michael Jordan, I could make a shot that he's made on a basketball court. Tiger Woods, I could make a putt that he's made on a golf course, but ain't nobody ever besides these 40 guys I can get in a car and try to remotely close drive as good as I can behind this car, or even have the balls to do it. NASCAR should have used that emotional moment, grabbed onto it, and emphasized. Now, I thought they did a great job with William Byron, showing the heat exhaustion, showing the fact that his heart rate was 182. That's great. They should do that. They should show the sacrifices that these guys make. Go into more clarity. You only get an option between cooler in the helmet or a cooler vest. He decided to go with the helmet and ended up blowing out hot air. 4 hours of driving in a car over 100 and probably 110 miles an hour or 110 degrees. I thought NASCAR could have done a better job gripping the emotions of, wow, that's nuts. Wow, these guys are crazy. It's not just about turning left. It's about putting your life on the line. And whenever you kiss your family after that national anthem, maybe the last time you're able to walk out of that car again. That is a realistic scenario that NASCAR did not, and Netflix failed to go through. Another thing, again, they missed the biggest stars. The reigning most popular driver and Chase Elliott, not a single sentence in the entire show. I thought they could have went to Chase Elliott and said, "What's it like to miss the playoffs? You're the most popular driver in the sport. You're not going to have an opportunity to compete for a championship. Do you regret it? Do you regret snowboarding? Do you regret wrecking Denny Hamlin? Do you regret any of these things that prevented you and put you in a hole that you couldn't do that?" I thought those were a very, very, very fair chance to do that. And maybe they declined. But I think NASCAR's got to push the issue and go, if you want this sport to be where you are, if you want it to make the money you want it to make, if you want to share the revenue you want it to do, then you got to put the biggest names behind it. Kyle Busch, again, another one. I just put out a short yesterday, 1.3 thousand people, which for most channels is not a lot, but for this channel, that's a shit ton of people. I got followers because of Kyle Busch shitting on Joey Logano. He's that popular. Get a microphone in front of his face. He gives us the best one-liners probably the sport's had in a very, very long time. Let's go to the chat real quick. Joseph Michael, this is fun. Appreciate it, Joe. So those are things that I thought Netflix, NASCAR really, really failed upon. And even if I'm not a fan, and granted I'm a fan, I'm a huge fan. I may be a bigger fan than you guys watch it, and that's fine. That's fair. That's why I have a show. I wanted to do this because I'm a big fan. I thought for the average fan, they could find a way to emotionally invest into these people, and they didn't. And then for the ones that don't get this opportunity to see the veiled pull back on their favorite stars, I think they missed that opportunity as well. So I guess the last question, so we don't make this show too long. Did it hit the mark by reaching the audience that it intended to reach? I think the question is, yeah. I think it hit the audience by being, I think it might have went to number 3 on new series on Netflix. And I think they're going to have a lot of eyeballs watching it that didn't watch NASCAR before. Will it have a Drive to Survive push? No, I don't think so. I think the climate set up that. It took a few series for Drive to Survive to get to that point. But what I do hope is that people that gave Drive to Survive a chance and decide to watch Formula One watch this and give NASCAR that same chance. And honestly say which product they perform more. Is it NASCAR or Formula One? When it comes to a competition level, there is no doubt that NASCAR is a better competitive product. For your eyeballs, one can make that decision whether they see the form of racing as more entertaining, but competitively, you literally do not know who's going to win every single weekend. The same cannot be said when it comes to Formula One. So I hope that this is the blueprint, the foundation, the beginning of a series that NASCAR continues with, that Netflix continues with, and goes, we're going to make this bigger, badder, and better every year. 5 episodes to me, not enough. Try to fit 3 races into each episode. To me, I didn't think that was enough. Besides the last week, the leading up to the championship race could have been an episode, and then the race been an episode. And I think there's an opportunity to kind of even go hard knocks and find a younger driver. Find a driver that is getting a phone call that he's not going to be in his ride next year. Find a driver like Eric Almirola that's going to retire, or Kevin Harvick that's going to retire, Martin Truex, why are you going to retire? All these different things. But I think it did its job. It's going to get eyeballs on the NASCAR that it hasn't had before, and it was entertaining. It was entertaining. It was a top-notch, quality produced show that was very entertaining. And I think that's as much as you can ask for in season 1. I just hope that it builds itself better. So we have racing this week. And yeah, let's hit some we haven't hit before in a long time. Well, I guess first thing is I hope we have a race preview. Because we got the Busch Light Clash, but the weather says that we may not have a Busch Light Clash. So I hope we have a Busch Light Clash, but we may not have a Busch Clash, Busch Light, Busch Clash, whatever the hell it is. The race that's no longer in Daytona, that should be back at Daytona, that's at the Coliseum. So we shall see. Thank you, Joe. Welcome any time you want to be on. The Busch Clash is this weekend, and what can we expect? Well, this is year 3. We've been doing and watching this for a while now, and what it has shown us is that it can be mildly entertaining for heat races, but really not what you need to watch for, I don't know. It's proven why it should never be a true event. But by God, the shortest offseason in professional sports has ended, and we get an opportunity to see really loud cars and really fast cars get onto the track again. And that's all we can ever ask for as NASCAR fans. So I'll just kind of go through and tell you my thoughts. This is year 3 of a 3-year lease. I think it's done after this year. That would be my bet, is that we don't see it at the Coliseum. Do we see it at another venue? Probably. I think that having it at Daytona makes the most sense, but that's neither here nor there. Speed weeks used to be almost a month, and now it's like, we don't have practice. We barely have qualifying. It's just nothing like it used to be. But I digress. The Clash is going to be an event where I think you typically see guys that really do well on flat, short tracks. A lot of that last year, oddly enough, was Stewart-Haas Racing and Toyota, which is not odd. But they've been really, really good. And then for some reason, RCR has been really good at the Clash, even though they've been complete doggy doo-doo bullcrap at most short tracks with their short track package. But this is half of the shortest short track that we run. So drivers that I'm watching, Austin Dillon has placed top 5 in this event every year they've had it in the previous 2 years. Kyle Busch has been competitive. I I man, as much as I want to say I'd like to root for them, I still just like I don't know, man. I simply don't know because their short track pack is just so terrible. And trust me, I've seen it in person. But one guy that I really have my eyes on, and if I could have got this out, 3 weeks ago, I would have said, hey, do yourself a favor and just put some money down on Ryan Preece. He's got a race to get in because he didn't win a race last year. But the dude literally grew up racing on these type of tracks. Stafford, Thunder Valley, these short, flat asphalt tracks is something that has really, really, really done well for Ryan Preece. And I think we see that this weekend. The last I checked, he had plus 2,000 odds to win, which is honestly just as close to Austin Dillon, who's had way more success than Ryan Preece. So he would be my guy. Outside of that, I'm probably looking at a Toyota driver. So insert your favorite Toyota driver. Bubba Wallace would be there. He's like 2,500. He's probably not your favorite Toyota driver, but he is a Toyota driver. Tyler Reddick was really, really fast in Toyota and really, really fast in RCR. I think he broke something, and it was kind of like the first time we got to see the car, the next gen car, and Tyler Reddick broke something at an exhibition race, so it kind of gave everybody pause. But he might be one that I'm paying attention to as well. The only thing I will say to this is that the heats will probably be better than the main race. There's usually just not a lot. I enjoy chaos, especially a race that means nothing. Um, Kyle Busch doesn't enjoy chaos. Ty Dillon will probably wreck like 40,000 people to try to get into it. Another driver that drives exactly that way, Joey Logano, will wreck like anybody in front of him to try to make it to the main or win a heat race. So you could see tempers flare. What was it last year? Like, was it Chase Elliott just straight up? No, I think it was Kyle Larson. Maybe what? I think it was Kyle Larson just straight up dumped Justin Haley by the way he ran. So, there's just interesting things um, that you'll see in it. Joe here says, I hope it moves on. The first year at LA was fun to watch, but I'm over it. I agree. It's kind of like, watching the Fast and the Furious. The first couple of times you're like, no, I think this is going places. But we don't need to see Vin Diesel in a wheelchair. And I feel like that's where the clash is. We're searching for people. I know Machine Gun Kelly's going to be. We literally went from like Dr. Dre. No, it was Ice Cube. It was Ice Cube. That's who it was. It was Ice Cube as our first entertainment to a guy that paints his fingernails and Machine Gun Kelly. Like, whoa. But yeah, if you're able to go, I hope we get the weather for it to happen. Go Saturday. It's now free. It wasn't going to be available to the public because NASCAR has poor relations, or the people of California are complete idiots that try to run the program. It's hard to tell who's who sometimes, but they did open it free to the public so that you can watch practice and the heat races. But yeah, find a driver, do yourself a favor. If they're plus 1,000 odds, just throw $5 on it and have fun. Get a vested interest in NASCAR by putting a little bit of money on it. And when you're watching the race, there's no other sport that is a complete crapshoot that you can be entertained in watching, throw very little money, and win a decent amount. I mean, who doesn't like to make $100 to $200 in 3 hours? That's not bad. That's a good payday, especially in today's economic environment. We could all use a little extra cash. But that's going to be it. I will try. I'm going to pay attention to the weather, the weather, and see what we're looking like for tomorrow. The last thing I want to do is run a live stream, and participate with you guys for the prelims and the heat races, and we just weather delay. We don't have the Cincinnati banana phone. We just have me talking into a microphone. Granted, we might have a great chat going on, but at the end of the day, we all want to watch some racing, want to hear some racing, and talk about it at the same time. So be on the way. Just keep that in mind. If you see it, hit your notifications. And sure, we'll all get together and we can watch this together and have a good time. For the rest of the opportunities, Facebook, you can reach us there. Patreon, if you ever feel like donating, don't ever feel obligated to. And Rumble, the only thing that I ask, that anybody asks, is you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. It's free. It requires 2 clicks. I know it's really, really hard. And maybe one day they'll have a thought process that AI can do it for you. But right now, you have to manually do it. Outside of that, comment below, be part of the conversation. We'd love to hear what you guys have to say and what you have to be a part of. This is a racing community. This is not just me talking and you hearing my thoughts. I want to be part of your conversation and how you feel as well. But outside of that, my name is Ryan Peters. Watch NASCAR Full Speed. Watch the Clash this weekend. Racing's back, baby. Let's go. We'll catch you next time on Stuck in the Catch Fence.